is we can't fast break if we don't get the defensive rebound. So they understand that, and so we work extremely hard on that and guarding the three-point line.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. What's the next
The
question?
other one was, there were a few times where we had gotten the rebound, and so moving down the court, it would only be that one player from our one end, but then you have everybody from Loyola down the court too. But our other 4 girls were still on the other end, rather than at least one other person being down there to help, yeah.
You talking about offensively?
Yeah, offensively, to make sure that we had that follow through. Several times where we could have had that point.
You're saying, we weren't defensively, offensively trying to rebound the ball.
Well, no, not the offensive rebound. Like, we had just gotten the rebound. Like, one thing I'm thinking of, we had just gotten the rebound, but moving down the court, it was as if the other 4 girls on our side were not hustling fast enough. So they eventually got there, but by the time they got there, the ball had already turned back over.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes that happens. We realize that we're not perfect on every play. As a coach, I would like us to be, but there's a passionate pursuit of perfection. So that's what we constantly work on. And so I think in the past as a coach, because I'm so emotional, one of the things that I used to I think break up the flow, as Trail would call it, the flow of the team, is I would highlight every mistake that we would make. And so what I did was, one of the biggest adjustments that I made was I just told him, I said, listen, you can make a mistake, you flush it, it's over, let's get back. Just keep playing. Stop looking at, worrying about what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? So I think, as Shaquille O'Neal says, when the general was calm, the troops are calm. Yeah. So I just needed to just relax. And once I started relaxing, then I just allowed Trail to run the show. She's basically the coach on the floor. Yeah.
Now, one observation also, I noticed Loyola got a lot of easy baskets right up under the goal. So I don't know if the girls
was that before the timeout or after the timeout? Before the timeout, you're right. You got a lot of easy baskets.
It was before and some was after. Some of the girls were losing sight of who they were checking, and they got a lot of easy baskets under the goal. How do we propose to stop that?
Well, we have a different game plan for each team that we play. And one of the things that we tried to do for Loyola, we felt that defensively we had the athletic advantage, and so we felt they are a really good three-pointer shooting team, and so we switched everything except when we were guarding Megan Temple. And so what it allowed us to do was guard the three-point line, run the shooters off the three-point line, and then they had to make shots in the interior. And so I thought we did a good job of guarding the three-point line, and here's why. Until Diamond Jackson, number 3, hit that shot at the end of the game, which was basically meaningless, they had only made 2 3-pointers. And so we knew historically that they had been a really good three-point shoot team, and we felt if we could win that battle and not allow them to shoot the threes, or get the threes off, not even get a 3 off. Like, don't even give them an opportunity. Just force them to put the ball on the floor. We felt we had an opportunity to win the game. It would be in our favor. So I think they were like 3 for 19. Yeah. Yeah.
How prepared do you think the girls are to deal with an environment where it seems like the calls aren't coming in? That's their travel.
Right. Let me be politically correct. I think the referees are great. I think they do a great job. I think our girls are ready when we're in practice. I put them through in-game scenarios where I'm reffing the game, and I purposely sometimes don't make calls, and where I know there were fouls being made, to see how the ladies would respond to it. And then at the end of the in-game scenario, we come to the middle and we talk about what just happened. And so I let them know on purpose I didn't make the call, to see how you were going to respond, and would you still have your head in the game. So I think To answer your question, I think they're extremely prepared because we do it every day in practice. So they know we're not looking for calls. We're not begging for calls. We're thankful for the opportunity to play the game, and we're going to do what we have control over. And so what we don't have control over, we're just not going to focus on at all.
That's my job.
And you're doing well.
They got quiet.
I don't need to yell anymore at the referees. You do a good job. I'm going to live vicariously through you.
There were some bad calls we got from the referees, and the girls did keep their composure because they left it up to him and myself.
You talking about you put it on me?
So, thank you guys for coming out, and I appreciate it. And our next game is on Saturday for 2 o'clock against University of Louisiana Lafayette. And then we close the season out against LSUS in Shreveport. We play on the 16th. Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach Rome, for that wonderful update on our Lady Blue Devils basketball team. Our next update will come from none other than the Mike Newell, head coach of the Blue Devils basketball team. And he will tell you about our road trip to William Carey in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Faced another top 25 NAIA team, and he'll explain how the game went. Coach Newell.
Thank you. I don't know why Coach Rome keeps telling all those fibs. The story I heard was that Coach Martin threatened him to cuss them out. Let's get real about this. Get up there. Political man, he's using words I never heard him use. Then just tell Sands, please bring me. He's got Kentucky. I want to put an old DU play in. All right, from the side that I can call. All right? And when you hear me call it, we'll name it Burris. Just bring me one. That group back at that table. Give me a play. And we're going to call it out. And when we score, we're going to see a bunch of yelling back here. And when we don't score, I'm going to call Daryl from New Orleans Advocate and tell him that was Sands Burris.
Yeah, but if I bring you something, you gotta make sure they run it correct.
I want to introduce I had invited some managers and players and everything. One of my little managers showed up. She's a sophomore from Las Vegas. Jasmine, stand up. Busby does a great job. Keith Harris is my other manager. Of course, Kiki highly recommended them, and they've done a great job. And I'm telling you, managers are big time important to any type of basketball team. They do a lot of work that goes unnoticed and unappreciated sometimes from other people, but certainly not from our staff. We certainly appreciate those young ladies. We did make a road trip last week, William Carey, and we had defeated them by 10 here. And we got off to a slow start. Part of that was my problem because I felt like that we've been putting some zone defenses in to try to stay out of foul trouble and get our better players to where instead of playing 19 and 20 minutes, because they're in foul trouble, go zone, even though we might get some threes up, at least we get them on the offensive end. And that didn't work. Unfortunately, William Carey hit some threes, and we weren't executing very good. And but I told the kids afterwards, I'm at a point in my career, a lot different than when you're younger and you're trying to build your resume and your record. You'll come out of that zone. I told them at timeout, I said, look, we're going to get your attention that you've been getting all those little pats on the rear end and how great you are, and you won 5 ball games and this and that and the other, and won as many games they won last year. I said, let me see this. We're going to stay in that zone until you start executing. And because if you don't, we'll leave here. I said, we'll leave here 110 to 43, and then see what they're saying about you at Kearns and all those places. Because one more loss in my resume is not going to bother me. So we did. We dug a hole. We did come back, cut it to 10, and we cut it to 8 in the second half. But we had some chances. We're not good enough yet. I mean, that's just the bottom line. We're not good enough yet to beat a ranked team on the road. So they did call one timeout. That sort of let you know that the other coach was a little nervous. But I think that when he called it, I was wondering what he was doing. But so we never got to a point where I thought that we got a chance at this thing here. But the key was this: kids listened. They were down 20, came back, and it's hard. Well, first of all, we did score the ball. Teams that can't score, you get down that much, it's over. I mean, you just might as well call out and just call it a day. This group can come back. They can come back. They can score in spurts, and we're still not doing a lot of things well. We've still got some players that I know that aren't playing. Dennis Hightower being one of them. I know that he's had some great games. Don't get me wrong, but I expect a lot more out of him, and a couple other kids, and that's okay. Dennis hadn't played in a year and a half. Most of the kids that I keep saying this, but when you haven't played in a year and a half, 2 years in some cases, it takes you a while to get that rust off. And so we have definitely benefited from the practices last week, and then this week we get time to work. And even though this week is finals, we don't get a chance to work on some of the things we need to work on. And we did last week before we broke 4 finals Saturday. But the way I see it, and I told Dr. Barnes, and I've told y'all, I'm a rookie at this NAI level. And the way I see it, and comparing scores, and sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but coaches always do. It's going to be, we lost to William Carey by 10, and they went 2 days later, lost to Tougaloo in overtime, which now they had beaten Tougaloo at home. And Xavier lost to Loyola, 56-51 at Loyola, and they had beaten them at home. LSUS, a lot of these schools in our league, particularly Tougaloo and Xavier, Talladega, some of those schools, it's going to be really, really important when we get back. And I've asked Dr. Barnes to help me on this, that myself and some of the players get out to the dorms and make sure that we don't have another LSUS crowd. That's going to be because I really feel that if we'd had the crowd that we'd had prior to that, we'd have beaten LSUS. Our kids, most kids are. They're going. They like to have the crowd, particularly in experienced teams. Now, the experienced teams, it doesn't matter if there's 50 in there or 500. If they're good, and they're going to get through it. But this group plays with a lot of emotion, and so we need to have that backing. And but it's important that when we get back, that for the games that we do have at home, that we have that support. And I think it's going to be wide open. I feel good. I told you at the very first luncheon, I wouldn't trade my group for any other group in the conference before I even knew anything. And still wouldn't trade. I like this group, and I think that I know they're going to be successful, and they want to be successful. They're willing to pay the price to be successful. And so consequently, when you have that combination, you're going to be successful. Now, how successful is going to depend on how smart we play. And as far as executing offensively and defensively of what we're trying to do, the philosophy. Right now, this group has been for all the Division I, Division II teams I've had, at this time of year, we're usually moving on to some other things. This group we have not grasped what we need to grasp yet. And so we can't move on. It's like when you was a kid, in winter they taught you multiplication tables. You had to learn how to do 3 times 3 before you multiply 119 times 119. But when this group does, and they will, and I think it started last week, because that's going to be the difference. That's going to be the difference of whether we win the conference, get to the national tournament, or win a national championship. That's going to be the difference. And that's my job, is to be the type of teacher and coach, because that's all coaching is teaching. And so you've got to find out how they best learn, whether it's visual or whatever. We got to find that out. I think we have. And I've done it once again. I'll keep going back to that leadership committee that I put together. When you ask, they'll tell you. And, what's the problem? Coach, this is